Graham, to close us out, would you give us a short overview of what you see as being an officer in Toastmasters, and specifically online presenters, is all about?
Mr. Toastmaster, I've worked my entire life in radio, and one station I've never worked for is WIIFM, because that's not a radio station. It's the thing that I live my life by. What's in it for me? And what's in it for me as a club officer, what's in it for you as a club officer, is something that you should consider. We talk about sergeant-at-arms and secretary and treasurer. There are real world analogues outside of Toastmasters that we learn skills in a Toastmasters club and can take to our outside world. For example, what we call Sergeant-at-Arms is effectively the role of logistics manager. The job of Sergeant-at-Arms is to look after the physical accoutrements of a club, if you're in a brick and mortar club. So you look after the club's lights and the lectern and make sure that the room is booked. Well, in an online club like Online Presenters, you don't actually have those physical accoutrements, but you still have the secondary role of being a logistics manager. That is making the members comfortable in their physicality, making sure that members are welcomed to the meeting, that everybody's equipment is working, that the club has a Zoom account or whatever it's using for its online. So that's your role as logistics manager, as Sergeant-at-Arms. But the other benefit of being the Sergeant-at-Arms of a club is it's not a particularly onerous job, but you are a member of the committee, you are a member of the board, the executive, and so it's a great way to learn the leadership skills without having an awful lot of pressure placed on you. The treasurer outside of a club is the equivalent of, if you like, the chief financial officer. You look after the money. You make sure that the club's money is being dealt with. The beauty of an online club like Online Presenters is that you don't physically have to take people's cash at a meeting. You don't have to bank it, or at least you don't have to bank it except electronically. I've never been treasurer in any club until I was a treasurer of an online only club, because it means that I don't have to actually physically carry somebody else's money. Like Marty, I understand, I don't want to have other people's money. That's not my problem. But as a club treasurer, you are learning all about management of finances, and that's a skill that you can really use outside of your club. The secretary is, in a district role, we would call it the district administration manager. In the workplace, you would be an admin person working to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It is a vital role in any club, but it is a vital role outside of clubs as well, to make sure that we actually deal with the paperwork. Paperwork, administrivia, is boring, but it's what makes the wheels go round, and learning that is a really valuable skill. The vice president for public relations is, well, PR is, marketing is extremely important to all of us out inside the club and outside as well. The skills that you learn as Vice President Public Relations are skills that you can use in sales, they are skills that you can use in marketing, they are skills that you can use in your workplace, in your church, in your social group, in your family. Learning to encourage people is a skill that you learn as VP PR. VP of membership is, if you like, being the human resources person. Your role is to act as a conduit between the organization, Toastmasters International, and the individual member, to make sure that all of those things are being dealt with. Again, it's a great skill to learn, particularly if you're going to move into supervisory or C-level positions in your workplace. The Vice President of Education is the training manager of a Toastmasters club. It's your job not only to make sure that the training is being provided, but that your individual members are being given the opportunity to learn and grow. Andrew mentioned that being the Vice President for Education is the busiest job in a Toastmasters club, and anyone who's ever been a VPE can tell you that's true. But it's also, I have to say, the most satisfying. When you watch a new member grow And it's like you see the light bulb go on over their head as they start to develop, and as they start to become a better speaker, as they start to become a better leader. It's so satisfying as VP education. And the real world analog of that is that you learn about training, you learn about encouraging, you learn about development. And the president's the easiest job in a Toastmasters club, because if you're doing your job right, and everybody else is doing their job right, all you do is lead. You're, if you like, the chairman of the board. And I think of the president as being the chairman of the board rather than the CEO, because it's your job not to get everything done, but to make sure that everything is being done. There are real world analogs to every position in a Toastmasters club. But the best bit is, as Joni said, you get the chance to fail forward, because this is an organization where we're expected to stumble. We're expected to make mistakes. We're expected, however, to learn from those mistakes and move forward in a circumstance that's not going to be, for example, critical to our careers. We learn to make mistakes in Toastmasters, and then we take that learning forward into the real world. So if you get an opportunity to take any committee role, whether it is Sergeant at Arms, whether it is President, Vice President Education, Vice President Membership, Vice President Public Relations, Secretary Treasurer, take the opportunity, because the learnings are just so incredibly valuable, not just in Toastmasters, but in the rest of our lives as well. Mr. Toastmaster.